minister, he said we will soon. So how soon are we expecting?
That is what I'm saying. We want to see it as soon as possible because it is very important. We are in Sierra Leone, we use the fire brigade approach.
Yes.
It's when something happens that we'll be able to get things done. We do not try to be proactive, but most of the time we are reactive. So now that we have received such serious burnt cases in the country, it is now prudent that the Ministry of Health should try to set up burnt unit and try to, because most of our nurses and doctors now have gained ideas how to treat people with burns during this past month. So setting up that unit at Connaught, it will be very good and it will be easier for them now to work with people coming in with burns.
Yes, because if my memory serves me right, this is not the first time we are having this major victims of fire disaster. Some years ago, we have same at around Shell. And I think since that time, they should have been thinking that it's high time we started putting things in place in making sure that this unit was established. But since then, and here also is another major disaster, and up till now. But according to the minister, we are expecting that soon, and we hope to see that happen. And Mr. Dunstan, how soon are you expecting to see the establishment of the burns unit in hospital?
Well, I will not ascertain the real time, but what I will say, it is but prudent that the Ministry of Health make haste slowly. Because according to the National Disaster Management Agency, Freetown is experiencing more fire incidents as compared to the provinces where wind disaster occurred. So I think it is but prudent that we have a unit here, and as time progresses, we try to replicate that in other provincial headquarter towns, because you know accident is something that we do not prepare for, and accidents always take us unaware. So we need to readily available and readily prepare to deal with short incidences precisely or decisively.
Okay, and thank you very much. Let's move to another stories on still on front page of AYV newspaper, which states citizens beg President Bill to save Kamarainba. And Mr. Thomas, thinking of how the media has been reporting on the issue of Kamarainba, and now the citizens are calling on President Bill to save Kamarainba. Do you think this call is in place?
Well, politically it's in place because that matter seems to be beyond the judiciary. It seems as if it's now political. So it's in place for the president to use now his own power or his own authority to save Kamarainba, because Kamarainba had been given bail on the 7th September. In fact, the other lady that both of them were granted bail has met her own bail conditions, I think, yesterday, and she's out yesterday. But for Kamarainba, the passport issue, which should not have been the crux of the matter, is what has become the most important part of the bail condition, which the Registrar General is holding against him. So for him now not to get bail since the 7th of September, it's close to 2 months now. And last week we saw the medical superintendent at the prison saying that the conditions of Kamarainba is critical, and
but that is what I wanted to ask. And if
he cannot treat him anymore,
even if he cannot meet the bail condition, don't you think they should consider his health condition and maybe take him to another country for treatment? Because even core criminals sometimes are given medical attention.
It's not about taking him to another country, it's about taking him to better hospitals, because what they have in the prisons is just a clinic. It's not a hospital. They don't have the professionals there to treat him. So they have to move him out of the hospital, get him to a fitted medical center where he will get better treatment. But if they continue to keep him there and things get worse by him losing his life, then it will be on the government, it will be on the judiciary, because he is not a criminal. For the crime committed, for him to be treated that way, it's not correct. You know, he never killed anybody. And we've seen people that have been taken to court for rape cases being granted bail. So why is he being treated this way? We all know that it's not about the rape case anymore. It's more of a political matter. That is why the citizens are calling on the president, because if it was not a political matter, there is no need for citizens to call on the president. It's now a political matter. So we too want to call on the president, release this man for him to get medical care, because he is a figure, he is a father, he is a political leader. So he needs to get treatment. He should not be treated this way because he's an opposition. No, it's not right.
Okay, so and over to you, Mr. Dostans. Don't you think the right to health is being trampled upon by the judiciary on Mr. Kamarainba?
Yes, that's very true. A citizen of this country, the right to health in any conditions you are or any place is a must. And we have seen that Kamarainba situation is going more political, as my senior colleague have just alluded. But I believe the president will not want to be down in the book that during his tenure, a political detainee died in custody. I believe that human rights record the president will want to maintain. But my issue, I think the doctors have said it all. And even the medical personnel at prison have also reiterated that the condition of Mr. Kamarainba is deteriorating and there is a cause for concern. I believe the president is a listening president, and the president should listen to the voices of the people, because he is there to serve the people and the people only. This is very internal. Politics come and go, but I think nationalism and love for each other should be maintained. And so we are calling on the president to do the needful so that majority of the citizens will be happy.
Okay, thank you very much. And we hope to see that soon, because everybody, every Sierra Leonean has a right to a better health in whatever situation they find themselves. They must have the rights. So it's a fundamental right to have access to better health.
Yeah.
Okay, and we move on to another story still on the front page of AYV newspaper. Eastern Lion Football Club condemns attack on footballer. And over to you again, Mr. Dostans. We've been seeing so much attack on football. Don't you think football-loving fans should stop this habit of attacking players and celebrate in peace?
Yes, I think we should be growing in that area, because I think these players are human. And in the game of football, there is only two things involved. You either win or you lose. And sometimes it is but fitting that supporters take the courage when they lose. And so even if your team is not in a comfortable position in the league, I think that should not be a reason going after a player to humiliate that individual. It is out of law and it is out of order. I think the sports association and other bodies should come out clearly and condemn short action, because it does not augur well for the sport in general.
Okay, over to you, Mr. Thomas.
Well, we need to change that mentality in this part of the world, because in all over the world, football is being played and you have a winner, you have a loser. Sometimes the games are drawn. You have to accept the result and move on. Eastern Lions should not think that they are the best team in the country, and they should not think that because when the league started a few years ago, they won the league unbeaten, that means they should continue to win the league in that fashion. They have to grow, the supporters need to grow up, the officials need to engage their supporters and tell them
here,
all that.
It is not the case of, it is Eastern Lions fans and players that have been attacked.
This is what
fans.
I'm saying.
Okay.
The Eastern Lions officials need to go and engage their fans.
Okay.
They need to engage their fans on that, because the players, we're all humans. Some of them make mistakes. We've seen the past few days in the European League where mistakes have been made by goalkeepers, by defenders, that resulted to goal. That doesn't mean that the fans should beat up these players. No. You know, they are humans. They can make mistakes. These are the same players that are winning. When they win, you celebrate with them. So if they lose, you have to appreciate them and move on. You can't beat them because they lose. So that's why I'm saying the Eastern Lions officials must engage their supporters, talk to them, for them to change their attitude to the players. The players are human, they can make mistakes. It is the same Eastern Lions players that have been winning. So if they lose the first round of this league, doesn't mean they can't win the league at the end. So they have to grow up, the supporters need to grow up, the officials need to engage the supporters for them to change their attitude towards the players.
Okay, thank you very much. And now let's move to another newspaper, which is the Concord Times newspaper. And the headline states, Parliament will withhold MDA's budget if, and here is a question. Yesterday we saw the start of a debate on the budget, the 2022 budget, and we saw most MDAs and members of Parliament were not present. And do you think it is in place for MPs to be absent when they are discussing the country's budget?
No, they should not. They should be in Parliament, and the MDs also should be in Parliament, because even last year, that's what the Parliament reported, that how can they be discussing
The country's
a
budget.
ministry and nobody from the ministry is in Parliament to answer one or two questions. So they've been calling on them to be in Parliament so that when questions are popped up, they will be able to defend their MDs. And for the MPs, it's the same. They want to be paid. They want improved conditions. But you don't want to go to Parliament. You can't have salary, you can't continue to have improved conditions if important sittings are taking place and you are not present. And most of them, they are not present, and they do not send excuse to the Speaker or the Clerk of Parliament. That's why even the Speaker is now telling them that those that will continue to absent themselves, they too will not receive salary, because this is a crucial time. The next 2 weeks, they have to talk on the budget, try to verify and approve the budget, and by the time they finish the budget, then will come the audit report. So it's a crucial period for all parliamentarians to be in Parliament, get the budget, the 2022 budget approved, scrutinized, and where there are questions, the MDAs should be there to answer those questions. So it's a two-way traffic. MPs should be present, and the MDAs too. They should be present when they are discussing about the budget of their ministries, their departments and agencies.
Again, over to you, Mr. Dostan. Let's have your own view on the absentees of MDAs and some members of Parliament.
I am of the view that absenteeism among MPs is becoming unbecoming. The statements made by the acting speaker yesterday was deliberate, owing to the fact that MP are now in the habit of not attending sitting, especially when critical issues with regard the state are being discussed. And this was brought to the attention of the speaker yesterday by the leader of the opposition, Honorable Cherno Majuba, and and that prompted the speaker to state that he will start making some roll call on MPs, and that if MP refuses to attend sitting, then sanctions will be invoked. For the deputy leader of government business, Honorable Bashiru Siddiq, he described the actions of MP as unfortunate and a disservice to their electorate and the nation as a whole, especially taking into consideration the amount of money spent on MPs and other allowances. It is but fitting that they make themselves available in Parliament to contribute into the 2022 Appropriation Act. But it was on the contrary yesterday. And also for MDs, notice was sent out. And the reason being, it is for their own advantage. If you have the administrative heads of ministry, departments, and agency during the Appropriation Act, the debate, you will have the opportunity to make inputs on issues that might be confusing to the members of Parliament. But if they are not there, I think they are doing disservice to themselves and the nation. And that's the more reason they are saying they will deliberately hold their allocations if any MDA refuses to go by the notice.
Okay, thank you very much. And over to another story is on Premier newspaper. PWD's appeals for relocation. And Mr. Thomas, we've seen persons with disabilities all over the streets, and some are located around the Kamarainba prison, and now they are asking for relocation on the ground that whenever there are riots or other disarrays, most of them suffer lots among. Do you think their call is in place for relocation?
Yeah, it's in place, and not only for relocation. You know, we need to take good care of these people. There should be centers for them. Instead of them just idling around, they should create some centers for them where they can learn trade. Have these centers for them to do handicrafts, to learn things that will improve their lives than just leaving them. You see, they have their own different organizations, and I'm sure that these organizations should be working along that line to get them occupied so that they too can fend for their living, you know. But just moving up and down the street begging is not ideal for them. You see, some have the opportunities, and some of those that have the opportunities, we saw them, or we've seen them around. You have Lawyer Kofi, you have others that have graduated or doing private businesses, and they are doing well. So that is the line they have to so that these people, they can fend for themselves, they will be able to have better places to stay. But now all of them are calling for relocation because they have nothing to do. They just move up the streets.
If you go around the Cotton Tree
you will
and
see them there.
Kisi Road at night, most of them sleep along the streets.
Along the streets, you know, because they do not have anything. The only way they survive is through begging. And gone are those days that people will be giving them monies like that. Now the economy is challenging. So government and the organizations should come together and try to get them into facilities where they can train them, giving them allowances until they train them, they graduate, so that they can fend for themselves. And when they fend for themselves, they'll be able to rent better apartments, get good standard of living than just sleeping in the streets and begging day and night.
Okay, never to you, Mr.
Yes, I can remember that Disabled International Foundation, SL, in 2015 came up with a report titled Homelessness on Disability. I think it's exposed the condition that disabled are living across the city and other places. As you have rightly said, most of them sleeps on top of market stalls and other places that are not conducive for human beings. And these have been their situation over the years. And government has come and go making promise on how they will make their life better, but to no avail. That's one side of the coin. But let me also hastily state that there are some disabled that just choose begging as a career. Some of them have went through training. They have given them startup kits. And you see, only for some days, they will abandon that training, jump on the street, and started begging. You see, what disabled organization should realize is that begging is not a profession. That's one. And you will not have the strength continuously to be coming out to beg. Old age is a must. And therefore, you need to make provision for your old age. And so they need to think along that line and try to engage themselves in something that will be meaningful for themselves.
Because that is what I just want to ask. Because some of them, sometimes organizations do take them out from the streets, provide home for them. They'll still go again to the streets to beg because they think begging is their only option. What do you think needs to be done in order to ensure that whenever an organization or institution take them away from the streets, they should ensure that they stay where they've been relocated to? And now some of them are coming again asking for relocation from government.
Yeah, well, I think they should have a change of mind to see that begging is not a profession, and that the need for them to engage themselves in something that is worthwhile is a must, because startup capital has been given to some of these female disabled and other tools to the male. But you see, they sell them. For the female, they will start doing some business, and with time, they will tell you the money is finished, and that's the reason I am on the street again. And so if you are given, for example, female disabled capital, I think there should be a training on how to manage a petty business, because some of them lack that business idea or knowledge, and so the possibility for them to mismanage stands paramount. I think that's one of the areas we should be looking to.
So can we have your own view, Mr. Thomas?
Yes, that's what we are saying, because you have the organizations that takes care of these people. Those organizations should be very much proactive, because if they are giving startup kits and they just use them 1 or 2 weeks and come back to the street, it's not right. They are giving the impression like government is not doing enough or is not doing anything for them. So there are organizations, because they have several organizations that should be on their neck, telling them, no, you've been giving startup kits, go and make sure that the capital you have been given, use it the correct way so that the business will progress. But after 1 or 2 weeks, you finish the money and sell all the equipment and come back to the street. Not all go well for the government, for the organizations, and for them, the disabled.
And also for them, the disabled. Most of the times you see them with their children. Sometimes you see them with their children along the streets begging. During school hours.
Yes.
And what do you think will be the condition or the future of those children that they took along with them to beg? Because most of them are not going to school.
And they should be in school.
So what do you think is the future for those children amidst the free quality education that we have in the country?
It's progression. They will not grow to be anybody in society. They too will end up being beggars along the street because that's the only thing they know. Parents are begging. They've been begging with their parents from teenage. And when they grow up, they too will continue to beg because they don't have no other profession, which is wrong. That is why I'm saying that when they are given startup kits, they should be monitored. The organizations the disabled organizations, I think they have one that is Ludi, you have others, should monitor these people, get them out of the street. You've been provided funds, you've been provided equipment. If you are a shoemaker, continue to do it. If you are a barber, go and set up your barbering shop. Get something to do. Move away from the street. When you get a shop, you are living in doing your business in the shop. It earns you more respect. People will come to patronize with you. But not every day on the street you should be sitting there begging. It gives the impression as if government, the institutions, and people are not caring for them, which is wrong. So we need a change of mind or a mindset. Let them change their mindset to look at the bigger picture than just begging.
Especially for the future,
of the children
that they took along.
Of course, because if they are begging with the children today, tomorrow the children are going to be beggars. That is the norm. They too will be the beggars tomorrow.
Okay. I think you see, SLUDI has what we call commissioners across the countries. Yes. And I am of the view that these commissioners should step up their game to ensure that those children that are following their parents begging to try to remove them off their parents and make them adopted or admitted into schools.
They will tell you, these are my eyes. If you take them away from me, yes, who will help me?
Who will help
so what does the commissioner have to do in that case?
You take the parents off the street, then the children too are off the street.
And most of them you see along the Kisi Road, the constituency, most of them are coming from a far distance.
Yeah, Waterloo.
You'll see them in the evening finding their way back to Waterloo every day, going to Waterloo to and fro every day.
Well, it's their own form of...
They've
turned begging as a profession.
Yes, and there is a great need for taking into consideration that some of those beggars should be taken off the street. And we hope to see the organizations that are concerned to make sure that these persons with disability are taken care of and maybe, if necessary, taken off the street.
The Minister of Social Welfare is doing very well. She's working assiduously to get them off the street because she has quite a number of them that she has helped, and most of them are women that are now fending for themselves through different businesses. She has been doing very well for them, having Orange and other institutions coming on board to support them, But at the end of the day, if after giving them and they come back to the street,
to take them off the street.
But they are giving the impression like government is not doing enough for them or government is not taking care of them, which is wrong. There are many organizations that have been working with them, helping them, giving them startup kits, giving them seed money. What are they doing with it? You see?
Okay. We hope to see that issue settled. And let's go to another story here on the front page of Premier News newspaper, still on that. The Legal Aid Board Executive Director has been recognized by the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights and during the third forum of the Human Rights, Democracy and Rule of Law held in Geneva. And we've seen the efforts of Madam Fatmata Clark Carlton-Hansfield in making sure that the rights of detainees or people in conflict with the law being maintained and trying to decongest the prisons. And do you think she deserves this recognition, Mr. Thomas?
Yeah, she deserves it because they have been providing legal assistance for thousands and thousands of Sierra Leoneans who can't afford. And they've been doing massive sensitization, talking to people in communities to stop and doing petty crimes. to live in peace, to make sure that they do not get themselves in trouble with the law. She has been doing it enough, but the economic situation, the current economic situations is driving her crazy, because I remember, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, when she reported that a month alone they had over 1,000 cases across the country that they were providing legal assistance to. It's really, really sickening for her. She has been doing her best, and as much as defending, they've been proactive, fighting to stop the crime. So if she has been awarded, I'm sure she deserves it, because over the years she has been one of the iron ladies in this country in her profession, pushing to get people out of petty crimes, to defend them, and our institutions have saved many people from advantages from other legal proceedings. And most of them I've seen some of these guys that were freed by the legal aid board. She deserves all the accolades she can get because of her assiduous work in the country, in the law system.
And over to you, Mr. Dostan.
Yeah, I think she deserves what short things, because you know the legal aid board since its inception has helped to set many prisoners free that we are not having the opportunity to secure lawyers. You see, the access to justice program under the legal aid board, you see, has yielded lots of dividend, and those dividends cannot be understated. You see, what we are calling on, you see, other international donors in country have also realized the contribution she has made towards the justice sector reform program. So all we are saying is that we want to encourage donors that are currently funding the access to justice program to do more, because you see the level of economic deprivation has held a lot of Sierra Leoneans that are very poor behind bars for cases that are very infinitesimal, or some of these cases do not warrant them actually to have spent the time they spent in prison. So the coming of the legal aid board is an eye-opener to justice and other legal laws that have held our brothers and sisters behind bar for quite a long time.
Okay, because we've seen, and she has been very active especially in some of the family support cases. Yes, she has also been involved in trying to settle some marriages and making settlements, and we hope to see more of her, because as for her, some of these cases should not go to the police or to the courts and later to Parliament. She has been doing very well in making sure that she helped to decongest the prisons.
Yeah.
And for me, I think she deserves. She deserves it.
Award.
Okay, and here on the Global Times newspaper, the finance minister assures governments to complete major roads and bridges. Hey, Mr. Thomas, we hope to see the completion of the major roads, and some of the roads include the Lomli-Toke Road, the Tagri Lunge Road, and the Pujeu Bondapi. And I think this one is the major one, the Lomli-Toke Road. We hope to see the completion of that.
Yes, that one, most of those roads, the payments have been done already, and the Minister of Works have made it clear that by March 2022, the Lomli-Toke Road, the Hillside Bypass, the Hillside Bypass, the Pujeu,
yes,
to Liberia border, all those roads will be completed. Those are roads that have started almost a decade ago.
And especially for the hillside bypass.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. They've started almost a decade or more, and payments have been made. And all this, especially all those major roads, have been made by CSC, the one contractor. For me, I think it's because of they have too much and to swallow. They can't work within the time frame given to them over the years, because March this year, the Minister of Works told us that December, the roads will be completed. And came June, July, the goalpost was shifted again and said March 2022, the roads will be completed. But if you are passing, for example, the hillside road, it is difficult to see how that road will be completed by March. The Lumley Toke road, okay, that one is almost been graded. The Puget road, almost the same. The bridges have been built and they are very close to the border. So, but what we want to say is we need those are major roads, especially this hillside bypass. It averts lots of traffic for people moving from west to east or east to west. So it is a road that should be completed the first 3 months of next year.
Because going to the eastern part, if you do not use Fobe Road, you have to use Kisi Road. Those are
and
the
they are
major
always
roads.
blocked.
Then they are always traffic.
Blocked. So we need that outlet that will save us.
Yes.
And we saw the president again on last week in Kono. They have undertaken some other road construction that will improve trade, especially that, I forgot the road, that one leading to the Guinea border from Kono. Because those villages, only on Wednesday, one lorry goes to those villages on Wednesday. And those villages are very rich in agriculture and food. I remember going to that village, just greeting the woman. The woman gave me a whole banana. I said, no, I don't need it, because I was in Kono for like a week. So I don't need it. Why she gave me? Because she can't sell it. They have all those commodities along those roads, but the roads are not good, because only on Wednesday lorries go to the village. So I think, as the Chinese says, the construction of good roads is the beginning of wealth. So the more we have those roads constructed, the better it will be to improve our agriculture, to improve our transportation to and from one area to the other.
Okay, so and in rounding up, because time is not a friend, let's hear your own side in terms of the construction of this major roads.
Yeah, we are hoping that the goalpost is not shifted again as the time draws near, because for us the completion of the roads is very significant, and it also rated us in terms of development. As my senior colleagues have said, it will contribute to economic development, as farmers in rural areas and other deprived settlements will have access to bigger towns to market their products. For the Lunge road, I think it is but fitting, being that Lunge is the international gateway, and it will serve as an eyesore for an investor or foreigner to jet in Sierra Leone and notice that even the road that links the airport to the capital is not roadworthy. I think it's a step in the right direction, and we hope that those roads are completed and they become a thing of the past.
And Mr. Thomas, your final word?
Well, my final word is that we hope to see more fire victims being discharged, and we hope that we will have more education in those areas, because people are saying that it's about poverty. I don't think so. It's lack of education. We need education so that next time when a tanker falls down, everybody will run from the scene. And also, as we round up, I just hope that these roads we are talking about will become a fusion, and they will help us to move along the city and the country easily.
Okay, thank you very much, viewers. This is where we bring the cutting down for today's program. Many thanks out there to you, viewers, and to my guests in the studio for having your time to come here to discuss. And many thanks to my producer, Mohamed Bakar Kamara. Thank you for watching and do have a good day. Bye-bye.
You're watching AYV Television.
What's up, guys? What's up, Sierra Leone? They call me Kistano. Yes, 4th of December, you have a gift with the King of Love, the National Stadium in Hall. Can't wait to see you guys. One love, one Africa.
Everybody does say I'm on the other.